Welcome to Epilogue Podcast, the show where we discuss some stuff that happened on a different show ages ago which nobody really cares about anymore.
Hi, I'm Portponky.
And I'm LeBloc.
Today, we're discussing Farscape, Season 3, Episode 20. Into the Lion's Den, Part 1. Lambs to the Slaughter. The crew board the command carrier and stall as their plan to destroy Scorpius's research becomes morally unclear. How did you find this episode?
I found it good because it has Scorpius in it. Other reasons too.
Because it was good.
Yeah, because it was good.
That's it. Next week. Next time.
We should say a few more things.
Command carrier looks really big in this episode.
It has to carry a lot of things.
They never put much effort into making it look big before. I mean, it was big, but kind of in a vague, oh, it's really big kind of way. But here in the opening scenes, they're boarding this thing. It's like a city.
I didn't notice this, but now that you say it, the sense of scale is there.
I think the first few minutes of this episode and the last few minutes were really excellent. And everything in between was a bit sort of circumstantial, fillery, but very exciting.
The structure tricked me into thinking it's a better episode than it is. It starts out good and then it leaves you with a good impression.
I guess the major plot point is that there's internal politics to the Peacekeepers, with Mrs. Cleavage showing up and pestering Scorpius.
I didn't like her showing up. I'm weirdly attached to Scorpius and I was rooting for him. He's not in control in this episode. I was actually relieved when he gained the upper hand in the end.
Greza is trying to be a naughty villain, and Scorpius is the best naughty villain.
She would be an awful replacement. We just meet her, and then she has these plans to take out Scorpius, who we've come to love in a way.
We'd love to hate him.
Yeah, that's it.
He's a good villain because he has a believable set of reasons for why he does things. The other big reveal is that Scorpius knows where Earth is.
I loved that reveal. As I said, he gets the upper hand. He spends most of this episode with people going behind his back and scheming against him. And then here, he's in control. Hey, look, I'm dangling this in front of you. This thing that you desperately want.
It's funny because John went into this thinking, oh, yeah, we'll outsmart him, no problem. And then he spent this whole episode saying, oh, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to stall them efficiently. Maybe it's not even a good idea. And then it turns out at the end, Scorpius had a hell of an ace up his sleeve.
I don't know how he managed to keep that under wraps. I would be so giddy to reveal to John I knew where Earth was.
That's not dramatic, though.
No, I would be a terrible Scorpius.
Fair enough.
Although, I bet it would look pretty funny if I had the bracelet on and someone else were getting hit and I were responding. That part, I think I can handle.
It kept cutting to Scorpius thrashing around on his chair. Last time, I predicted that someone would aim a gun or something at their own head to threaten the other person, as in John would aim a gun at himself to threaten Scorpius. So I have seen this show before, but I can't remember all the little details. This didn't happen, but something much more hilarious happened.
John recognized that he always points guns at people.
Yeah, there's that. He accidentally made an enemy of Peacekeeper Commandant. He even comments to himself about that. No, I was referring to when John is holding a gun up to Scorpius for the third, maybe, time, and Scorpius pulls a knife and then stabs himself in the arm.
That was awesome. That was very Scorpius. That was a very Scorpius solution to that situation.
It's really brutal. He just knows he can take the pain a lot better.
Right. I know I could withstand a blade. Can you? Let's see. He even seemed invigorated by it.
There's something wrong with that guy. He could have just punched himself in the arm or something.
That's not dramatic. You're not a good Scorpius.
It's not crazy. It just needs to slap his arm hard enough to make John's aim fly off for a second.
We were thinking about it too much when we guessed someone would point a gun at their own head, because that's not a natural instinct. If you were mad at someone and you want to shoot them or cause them harm with a gun, you don't think, oh, I have this bracelet on, let me shoot myself. That thought wouldn't take over the natural idea of, I'm going to point this gun at you and shoot you. Yes, I know I will die, but you will have the mangled face.
You've got a point. They still have the bracelets on, so there's still time.
Still holding out?
Yeah. Throughout this episode, they refer to the crew of Moya as escaped prisoners.
Yes.
Only Rigel and Dargo are escaped prisoners. Actually, most of the crew is not escaped prisoners anymore.
What about Chiana?
She escaped from a different captor. They wouldn't know she's an escaped prisoner.
It's easy shorthand instead of saying the couple escaped prisoners and the unknowns.
Sure. Aaron and Grace are disgraced peacekeepers, and the one I really felt bad for was Jewel, who's innocent of any of this kind of stuff. She's literally just a passenger.
They're all aiders and abettors of escaped criminals.
Okay. Well, she needs to be tried in the court of law for the horrible things she may or may not have done. But it's peacekeepers, so they don't do that, I assume. Dargo had quite a lot of stuff going on in this episode.
Like having those rings removed?
That was unexpected and a bit gruesome. The little fragments of bone stuck to the end of the rings was such good detail.
I forgot he had those. It's been there and part of his costume for so long, and they have never been a part of something. They never got snagged on something, or there weren't repeated references to them. So I forgot they were there.
Well, whenever he gets chained up, he gets chained through the rings.
Oh, see, I didn't even notice that.
But they could just cuff him or something. He also got into a fight with a guy who had a thing built for him for some battle that was a saw blade hand, which is a really weird thing to have.
It's incredibly weird to have, but I'm glad he had it because that fight was awesome.
It was pretty gruesome when he fell down and they looked down on his body, just grinding away on the saw blade.
That was a really clever way to have a gruesome death without showing the detail. It was really smart. You know exactly what's going on and your mind can envision it, and it's disgusting.
It's pretty unpleasant. How did that guy not think of that when the other guy, Velchek, was saying, oh, I know what might be a good idea. Remember that thing that you got? Like, if one of your possessions is this giant saw blade arm, But what else does he own where he didn't immediately think I could chop him up with the crazy saw blade arm?
If you never use a crazy chainsaw blade arm thing, then it becomes part of your furniture. It's just this thing that hangs on your wall.
Also, they're gonna know that it was him. If he chopped up Dargo, I don't know how good Peacekeeper forensics are, but they wouldn't need to be that good to figure out it was him.
These wounds are distinctly chainsaw arm wounds.
Dargo also got information on Macton.
Oh yeah, you got the little flash drive.
Do you remember who Macton is?
I do not remember who Macton is.
Cast your mind back to season 1. The episode was called They've Got a Secret, I think.
Still having trouble casting back.
So he got sucked out into space and he was wandering around talking about his wife. And Moya got pregnant.
Okay.
And his wife was Lolan. Lolan's brother was Macton.
I'm sure if I saw an image, I would immediately remember, but nothing's coming to mind.
We've never seen Macton.
Oh, then maybe that's why I'm having trouble picturing him.
We just know that Macton is his ex-brother-in-law. He's not so fond of him.
Okay, fair enough.
John and Heron got into a fight in a room full of cubes. What was your thoughts on that?
I didn't like the jetpack sequence stuff because it went on too long for how bad it looked. I would be fine if it was really quick. Okay, sure. But there was a lot of it, and then I didn't understand the rules of the sphere things. John was touching and really close to them, as close as the others were who got vaporized, but nothing happened to him. So I was confused, and I don't like when rules aren't consistent.
That's pretty fair. As fight scenes go, I didn't think this one was particularly great.
No, it all comes off as pretty wonky.
Yeah, the first wonky thing is they say, I think we're being followed, and they go into a door, and then suddenly they're in this infinite field of cubes. And I guess the rules where you can touch the box bit, but not the actual sphere. I guess.
It didn't look like they always hit the sphere, though. Maybe that's what it is, but still, it wasn't clear.
And as you said, the jetpack stuff was pretty unconvincing, and it lacked impact. They just sort of wobble around on jetpacks for a bit, and then
it felt really weightless.
The first bit where he blows the guy along the ground was really cool.
That I liked, yeah.
And then he starts flying around like Superman. Oh dear. It's strange that one fight scene was incredibly good and the other one was pretty lukewarm. But I guess you win some, you lose some.
Another thing in this episode I didn't quite understand, but this I liked, was the black and white footage gimmick in John's mind. How there's shifting focus and shaky frames, like an old movie. I didn't understand the point of this other than to differentiate, but it's pretty clear when he's talking to Harvey anyway. And then I really liked the transition in the beginning of the episode where the light changes and then he goes from being in his mind with Harvey to being on the ship.
Oh yeah, that was genius. I think the black and white old war film is just because Harvey exists in his memories, but not just memories of places he's been, but also things he's seen. I guess he's seen an old war movie, or seen enough of them that he has a concept of it. So old war movie.
That makes sense. And in the past, it's not as if the settings with Harvey made sense anyway, with where he was or what he was thinking about. They always seemed kind of random.
It's just a differentiation thing to keep it exciting. They were on a roller coaster a while back, and a truck stop, and a pier.
Right. Now that you point all these out, this isn't unique. And I really liked it with the visual flair.
It's quite good fun. It frames the episode really well because it doesn't seem like, if you didn't really know the series and you watch this, it wouldn't seem like Crichton was particularly fighting a battle here. I mean, aside from the actual battle he fights in the generator room, it's not obvious that he's in an incredibly difficult situation with trying to find a good way to resolve it. It's sort of a battle of wits.
That's a good point, and not something I thought about, where throughout this episode, this is a really dangerous mission and he could die. There's a high risk to it, but you don't really get that sense if you isolate the episode on its own. It just seems like he's hanging out on this ship, but things could turn really sour for him very quickly.
The episode title is fantastic. Into the Lion's Den, Lambs to the Slaughter. I liked how halfway through Harvey said that he was correcting John's energy signature because John was lying to Scorpius.
Oh, yeah.
They completely forgot about that.
I did too.
Yeah. Scorpius would have seen right through them from the very start. Once John started telling lies, he would have just, well, I don't know, thrown him in the dungeon, I imagine.
I loved that scene when they land in front of Scorpius and they're walking out. It's so strange to see them willingly put themselves in this situation. When you think back to earlier in the series, you wouldn't guess, oh yeah, they'll go and seek Scorpius out, see if they can work things out.
That's why I said the first few minutes of the episode are seriously 10 out of 10 entertainment once you've got this far through the show. See them walking down like Star Wars style down through all the soldiers, and Aaron twisting John's finger just to check, which is exactly what I wanted someone to do.
It's perfect.
They nailed that.
You need to confirm he didn't tamper with his bracelet, and there's a great way to do that.
Yeah, just shoot Scorpius dead and see if John dies.
That's a bit extreme.
Grace has a girlfriend. It's not a real girlfriend.
I feel stupid for not even considering that was a plot to gain his confidence. I thought, oh, she actually likes him, and here's forbidden love. No, it was all part of the plan. She doesn't actually like him.
I don't know if Grace cares. Did you not get the impression that it was maybe pretty transparent to him?
No. I don't give Grace any credit for being clever or figuring things out.
You still don't like Grace? I liked how the best thing Grace and his girlfriend could say to each other was, "I don't hate you." That's as strong as their feelings get. I have some unit news.
It's been a while, or I have a bad memory, and you did this last episode.
It's been a few episodes. Anyway, yeah, Earth is 60 cycles away. 60 years they can get to Earth. Which, on a universal scale, means John went almost nowhere when he went through the wormhole.
Yeah, that's not very far.
Same galaxy. I don't know how much of the galaxy they could traverse in 60 years. Probably quite a lot of it, because they can get from planet to planet pretty quick. Like a few days, so Yeah, maybe a fair chunk of the galaxy, but nowhere in the universe. Like that's not far at all. If he went to a different galaxy, they would never be able to reach it with their ships that they have. The distances are too vast. That's even just to go one galaxy over, let alone a billion galaxies over.
That seems like a mistake to reveal how close Earth is.
Is it a mistake?
I mean, for world building, they shouldn't be in the Milky Way.
They didn't reveal how close it is. They just revealed how long it would take them to get there. We don't know how fast they go.
Okay.
But the galaxy is pretty big. Is it bad world building to be in the same galaxy?
No, I wanted it to be more fantastical. So that's just me being silly about it not aligning with what was in my head.
We already know that John is genetically related to Joel.
Ah, right.
So
Yeah,
if he was 100 million galaxies away, that would be pretty weird.
that wouldn't make any sense.
A galaxy is still pretty darn big, though, so they can be very far away.
For whatever reason, I decided that their technology is so advanced. If they were in a galaxy, they would have it mapped out.
Oh, no.
But that's ridiculous.
It takes them
based on nothing.
a week to get between stars, and there's 200 billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy.
Okay, we're good.
So yeah, you're fine. They would need significantly better tech to be able to map the entire galaxy. Do you have a quote from this episode which you would like to share?
We've already talked around this quote, but I liked it so much I'm going to actually say it. Damn, I gotta stop pointing guns at people.
Yeah, he really should. He's got such an explosive temper nowadays.
It's good advice to himself.
At the start of the show, he would point guns at people, but he'd have to think they were a bad guy first. Now he just runs into the room and starts pointing guns at, like, if he doesn't recognize someone.
That's his go-to greeting now.
The sad thing, it's not even a bad strategy. Like, they don't meet that many good people.
It's actually probably a good idea to point a gun at every unknown person in a room you walk into if you are John Crichton.
He makes enemies very easily, and maybe the gun thing is related. I don't know. Chicken and egg problem, perhaps. There was a line that Scorpius said that I liked. I don't know exactly what the phrasing was, but he says something like, "Now you see the stupidity I have to deal with."
Now you know what stupidity I have to deal with. You must not fail.
Yeah.
That was a contender for my quote to share.
That just sort of enriches Scorpius a bit. He's always just been in charge of guys. It's never really been clear how he's so effective at being the leader all the time. Well, he's really smart and stuff. Like, he's a good tactical thinker, and he has a good strategy for combating the Scourns. But yeah, it turns out he just despises everyone.
I like this idea of Scorpius thinking of himself as this unappreciated genius who's surrounded by idiots. It fits so well.
Fits pretty well. Maybe Grazer will best him.
No, that would be awful.
Okay, but she looks like Servalon from Blake 7.
That's a reference I do not know.
It is accurate, though. Just trust me. Shall we watch the next episode and find out what happens on Scorpius's fun ship?
Why is it a fun ship?
Well, it was a lot of fun, this episode. I was entertained.
So
And
we're calling it a fun ship, not Scorpius.
Scorpius probably had fun. He got to stab himself in the arm dramatically.
Yeah, he had fun.
It's a good day for Scorpius. Let's go. Let's do it.
Doing it.